the election of a new chairperson of the Commission is a matter of vital importance for the future of the continent. But the East African region is not giving us any candidate, except a fleet of 5 candidates for this position of chairperson of the AU Commission. They haven't done that. Instead, you have candidates from Tanzania, from Djibouti, from Kenya, from Somalia, from Mauritius. 5 candidates from East Africa. Now you send all of these 5 names to the AU must decide which one. It's an incorrect approach. I'm mentioning it because it's actually a vitally important matter.
Hello kings and queens, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the Kenyan Beast, and of course we are doing it the African way. Thank you so much for the support, returning subscribers. I love you so much. The new subscribers, this is the place to be. Don't forget to subscribe. Now in today's video, I'm gonna react about the organization of AU, African Union. This is one of the organizations that is running Africa, and they have an election to come, you know. Former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, said something about AU, and it caught my ears. But I'm going to tell you some of the hidden truth that we don't know about AU. And from my perspective, I find AU being one of the organizations that is making taking Africa behind. First of all, let's hear Thabo Mbeki, and then we're going to talk about this. Welcome.
The matter that is being raised about good governance and so on the continent is correctly raised. What I would say about that now is that we are currently, there's a discussion going on, there's a process going on the continent to prepare for the election of the new Commission of the African Union next year in February. And as you know, part of what the AU decided was that this position of chairperson of the Commission should rotate among the regions, African regions. And so the region delegated the task to nominate the next chair candidate is East Africa. So the matter is with the East African region. What I would have expected is that the East African region would get together and say, who among us from East Africa would be the best candidate for this position of chairperson of the AU Commission? They haven't done that. Instead, you have candidates from Tanzania, from Djibouti, from Kenya, from Somalia, from where? Mauritius. 5 candidates from East Africa. Now you send all of these 5 names to the AU must decide which one. It's an incorrect approach. I'm mentioning it because it's actually a vitally important matter. Because there are many, many, many deficiencies with the current Commission of the African Union. And yet that Commission has got a vital task in addressing exactly these matters that you raise about good governance on the continent. It's a body that should be the African Union. We have a whole multiplicity, I keep raising this thing, of policies. The economy of the continent, the politics of the continent, war and peace, the gender question, women's, children's rights. There are policy positions of the African Union on all of these things. But there's no leadership to make sure that these policies are implemented, and that leadership should reside in that commission. So the election of a new chairperson of the Commission is a matter of vital importance for the future of the continent. But the East African region is not giving us any candidate, except a fleet of 5 candidates. That's a particular struggle that we need to engage, including the issue about the selection of such a candidate. You can't just pop up and say, my name is Thabo Mbeki, I want to be chair. Why? Why must we elect you? I'm saying the very process of the election, we are raising issues about that. That these candidates, there needs to be a particular process, transparent. All of Africa can see it. Ask this person. Ask them about the policies of the AU. What do they know? The practices and rules and regulations and all that. So that by the time you say, we hereby elect you as chairperson, you are confident that you are electing somebody who's actually going to do this practical work of making sure that the continent implements the decisions it's taken.
Now, welcome back. I've been feeling like we have some hidden agenda on AU. For example, we are talking about geographical influence, we are talking about economic exploitation or dependence, we are talking about internal power struggles, we are talking about global governance and neocolonization, we are talking about security, we are talking about political entities or self-interest. Hidden agenda behind AU. Many critics urge that powerful members or external powers like US, China, or the Europe, they seek to control the AU to expand their influence over Africa, resources and strategic position. For instance, China has been heavily involved right now in Africa, and it's riding behind the back of African Union. So instead of African Union protecting the resources of Africa, instead of African Union calling for the unity of Africa, but the Western powers are using African Union to channel their ideas or to come in Africa. There are some economic concerns that AU may be facilitating Africa's integration into global economy in a ways, especially multinational corporations leaving African countries at a disadvantage. Critics point to foreign direct investment, to trade agreements that may not always serve the long-term interest of African nations. The issue like IMF, issue of World Bank, the issue of controlling the price of minerals in Africa. I think AU could have done better by playing the best role to control this. But I think it's one of the organizations that is leading most of African countries to deals that are not legit deals to the African countries. Within the AU, there are allegations that certain dominant states like Nigeria, South Africa, or Egypt pushing regional agendas that do not necessarily align with the border interests of all African nations. These are superpower countries in Africa, for example, Egypt, Nigeria and South Africa, having the leeway. They are pushing agendas that is not for all African countries' borders. Some commentators also link the AU objective to large international organizations like UN or World Bank, raising concerns that AU could be acting as a vehicle for the continuation of neo-colonization practices. Critics urge the Western powers might still be influencing AU through financial aid and policy directive. This is what I was saying about the IMF, World Bank. AU is just a vehicle being used by the white supremacy to be here in Africa. AU has a strong focus on peace and security, especially in regions facing instability like Sahel or Horn of Africa. There are concerns that security initiative may be overly influenced by foreign agendas, particularly the global war on terror, which might shift priorities away from local issues. Another perspective urges that African politics elites may use the AU to solidify their power, shielding themselves from internal criticism by advocating for non-intervention in domestic affairs, even in cases where democratic process of human rights are compromised. Speculation on AU, according to political social, economic climate at any time. I've been suspecting that AU has a hand to some things that are happening in Africa. For example, the issue of World Bank and IMF. I am suspecting that there's a way maybe AU is getting some percentage to fold the eye, to keep a blind eye on the things that are happening. Issues like security. AU is a big organization that's catching every country in Africa, African Union. The issue in Congo, issues in South Sudan, this is the issue that they could have done it once and for all. But the lack of disunity between this country, I suspect, that's my views, AU is just a riding horse for some white supremacy, for countries like USA, China, countries in Europe. It's just a riding vehicle to carry them and come back to Africa indirectly in the back of AU. Now, let me ask you something. We have election and AU is going to elect its chairman. And the election has to be done. This chairman must come from East Africa. Instead of East Africa uniting and give us one person to be the chairman, they have given us a fleet of people to choose. According to Thabo Mbeki, and it's true. 5 candidates, 6 candidates, they are giving us 6 candidates to choose. Kenya, Eritrea, Somalia, Tanzania. This shows how disunity we are. We cannot speak one language. Now, within these 5 candidates, there is a white supremacy has its candidate there. They will just say, you know what, this is the guy we want. There is some hidden secrets between AU and the white supremacy and the neo-colonization that is happening. AU is not strong. African Union is not united. They are not capable to hold the issues of Africa. That's what I'm thinking. And as a matter of fact, everything that is happening in Africa, exploitation, wars, countries that are experiencing bad climate conditions, securities, AU has a clue. They know they can reverse this and make things better, but they cannot make things better because it's just a vehicle, and the driver of this vehicle is someone different. AU as an organization of 54 countries, how can you be summoned by one country like China? How can you be summoned by Russia? How can you be summoned by one country like USA? And then we call that African Union Organization. If they can control, this is a tool to put us together as Africans in one bucket and control us with a stick like cows. AU is a bucket that we have put all the leaders of Africa to control them with a single stick without going each and every country to consult. Because they know they'll consult the chairman will tell the members, yo, the guy has come with a deal, let's give this out. So I suspect that AU is playing dirty games. That's per me. Hidden agenda, more hidden agenda inside AU. But Thabo Mbeki has said it all. We need people to be chair people in the AU, people who are not corrupt. People who has the heart of the people of Africa. People who have the interests of the people of Africa in their heart. That is the people we want in AU organization. But here they will take somebody from a country, maybe like country that is not stable, just put him there to be the driver, to be the chairman, to be the one who will be guiding, to be controlled by the white supremacy, to bring neo-colonization, to bring more exploitation, to bring deals of IMF and World Bank which does not benefit the countries of Africa or the people of Africa, but they benefit the leaders that are supporting the deals in the AU. That's my view on this issue of AU. There is some hidden agenda in the AU that it's high time we talk about it. It's high time we discuss about it. Because it's the only way we can have one Africa. If AU itself is not united, how will African countries united? How will the people of Africa united? How will the Black Americans and Caribbeans come and unite? We need first to unite this tool. We need to ditch this vehicle, create our own vehicle, not by the influence of the white power. We need to create our own organization, not by the influence of the white supremacy, the USA, the China, the UK. No, we need to create our own organization and take our own person and control ourselves, control our exploitation and everything, the minerals, everything. That's what we need to do. We need to think more. AU, ECOWAS, Sahel, East African community, there's a lot of shit going on behind it, and it's high time we need to highlight these words. This AU we see in our eyes needs to do a lot if it's united. If it's not united, it has nothing to do with us. That's my comment. Tell me what you think on the comment section. I am the Kenyan Beast, of course. We are doing it the African way every day, every time. Peace be with you.